Set on the fight, doors wide open, taken clean off as Squash, he goes out of the situation. Star comes sprinting in, and this fight keeps on going.
Mate, there's no point did it occur to Spec to just use the first aid kit in his inventory at all. Like, what was he doing jumping down with 10 HP? Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And with that, Nenebete might be able to finish up a lot of these players coming through from NASA. A total misplay, in my opinion, from what was an incredible opening fight there from Spec himself. Nenebete is able to clutch this out. It's basically all down to the fact that you just don't use the utility that's on side. There was more than enough time and chance to use it. Just the aggression there was a little bit silly, in my opinion. Reject still pushing onwards, currently up to 34 points, 37 if you add the eliminations on. And I think, you know what, they've had a decent day today. They've been really trying to hit those numbers where they can. They understand that time is wearing thin for them too.
And the gap between DX is closing as well. Similar sort of story for Rejects, it seems, as they go for the swoop in and look to command respect here in the compound clash. Sarah, the bicep man, hits the first as Link goes down. Lufa again aggresses onto Misery, and one by one, Evos are becoming extinct as they are falling out of the server quite quickly. Luxy, though, wants to try and save face. Nade's thrown in. Nice tag on at the first. Has the DBS as well. He could clean out the building here, Blank, if he can find his way in. Nice nade to at least defend. Smoke canisters go up as well. Blocks the pathing and the eye line, but could be exposed to Coops and Co from the back. So Rejects have taken command of the gas station for now.
That was definitely a deluxe grenade if I've ever seen one. Nade over the top from Regiosio. Bounces, actually just airburst a bit too early there for him. Looks to send another one over the top. Has a general idea of where he is. Great nade from Regiosio. Will finish it off, and Pazija Evos goes down. Now remember, this is the position where Pazija Evos won the game from last match. And I think for Reject, they understand that. They're like, look, we'll take it off your hands, no problem. Quick push in, picks up a lot of eliminations off the back of some really nice shots with the DBS. And that's confidence we wanted to see from Reject a lot earlier on. For Udo Alliance, it's starting to get a bit better for them each and every single game. You know, their averages aren't looking too bad at all. Currently 5 points per game. Yes, it's not championship level of averages, but for some other teams who really have not done that at all, I would say this is a promising start for Udo Alliance.
They've not been looking too bad in some of the fights they've been able to find themselves in today. We've seen some smart decision making, even at least keeping games going when they're low in terms of stock, low in terms of manpower. So Udo Alliance, pretty good job of at least being a thorn in the side of some other teams. What can they get done here, though? In potentially a position where, you know, there is a chance you could chalk this one up as a W, as a chicken dinner, if you play your cards correctly. Frozen, still just trying to keep his attention drawn in the direction of Reject Tokyo. Rejects that are now getting themselves situated inside of the vehicles, driving seats at the ready, and start to set their focus on the new zone. Everyone's going to want to move their way further forward now. You do Alliance with a good spread of it as well. They'll have nice control to work off of. Meanwhile, MBE, Sec on the snipe with a Mini 14, firing off the warning shots, makes his presence known, but no actual connection. And he has given an inkling across the Udo as well of his position now.
Yeah, Cluck here off in the distance. Your Udo Alliance currently at those 5 eliminations found so far on this map. Could you go even a little bit further? Talking about before, Sec on that Mini 14, hitting some nice shots. Nenebete in the meantime takes his chances on the rotate while everyone is a little bit distracted. Will be able to get himself to fairly defensible position as well over on this side. MBE Sports off in the distance, very, very close to him. Udo Alliance is trying to take him down, but it is Olio to spot that one out. Once again, we see Udo Alliance in this situation where they potentially can take the chicken dinner on this game. They came second on that last match. So far, some very nice little averages on our angle. Reject will send in over towards Coops, last player remaining. Good initial grenade, but just overwhelming force here from Reject.
They just swoop in like an aggressive seagull at the boardwalk, just wanting to steal away their set of chips. And they take that one down instantly. Udo Alliance They've got a good spread for it, good setup in terms of the positioning to maybe get a few shots off here onto Reject Tokyo. And they're the ones that want a gun for the longevity on this. Both squads with 4 players alive. For Madballs, it is just Frozen. And keep in mind, Frozen's team, they were picked off by Rejects quite some time ago. He was hoping to get revenge, but he'll find nothing for his troubles as you do connect onto him and they dispatch the Bulls. Seeing red now as we fall to our final 3 squads. Hey, look at the damage being inflicted here as well, Blank. Softening them up now. Confidence is there. This could be where they start to rev their engines for the dive.
Yeah, looking to move in towards it. And I like this spread coming through from Udo Alliance. So aggressive. The distance, though, Sara is able to pick up one from MBE Sports. They have to immediately get on that res there if they want to get something done off the back of it. They might just send in over towards MBE Sports as well, claim a little bit more space. Cluck also getting involved, realizing that MBE Sports looks a little bit weakened off the back of that one. Olio with this position on top of the rooftops is so unbelievably strong, though, Jackie. Gives them so much advantage coming into the future. Reject were able to get a little bit further around, but more and more shots keep pouring over their way. MBE Sports with Mondo up front with 1 nade left remaining, but fully kitted out here with the MG3.
Quick looting, quick reset, shuffling. Everyone waiting for the right strike, the right moment to stick themselves into the action. The aggression works well for the first connection. Bullets downrange onto MBE, at least coiling their numbers for now, forcing one of the players into a knock and leaving them with a decision to make. No real quick move to get Modo back up, so you're probably going to have to give up the goose on him, fragmenting their numbers even more. And this setup from Udo is still looking so powerful. Every time there's a peak, they have the geometry to defend themselves whilst dealing damage. They've got set up so if there is contact, someone else can help out as well. They could play for trades pretty efficiently from this, and all they've got to do is hold. Everyone else sitting on the edge of the rim as well, not wanting to push in yet. The zone will be the only part that could potentially throw a spanner in the works for them. But with how they're playing it at the minute, Blank, this is looking great for Alliance.
Yeah, pretty much this was one of the circles that Reject likely was hoping for as well, because Olio on this spot had to be pushed out of it before stage 8. Realistically, this is a very early way to end a game in stage 7, having 3 teams at stage 6.
Not playing like they're actual lane. They're not terrorizing anybody. They're just playing super passive.
Reject,
Look
though,
at this
they
boat.
need
It's
to get
in
further
trouble,
into the
man.
circle.
If
Need to
this guy
regroup
gets spotted,
Ratioso
this
as well
could be
as
trouble for
Sara.
BTR
But
here. He's
this
driving
circle
way
does
out the
assist
zone.
them. Getting Olio
They're
off from
driving
that
the wrong
rooftop
way.
gives them a
What are we
much
doing
more
here,
even
guys?
chance
The
here,
zone
much
is the
more
way you're
even
driving.
footing.
They're going to
The fact
probably
that
hang
he's able
out
to
and
take
just
pot
look
shots
coming late.
downwards.
Just try to
provides
maybe
so
fake out
much
some people. We saw that a little bit
information
in the
all
NA finals. I believe it
towards
was
the rest of his
Wildcard when they
teammates.
were just playing
It's
with 3
causing so
players
much
at one
problems. He's
point.
finally
They were
off
able
it
to
now,
just
and
wrap
Reject
around
might
the
be
military
starting to
base
think
and
about
just
when they want to move off towards the rest
Trying
of
to
their
come into
squad.
Prem without being noticed.
Lufa hearing the sniper shots whizzing by him. Ooh, it looked like his days were numbered, but the team defends as they assist their mate. A few pot shots back over. That's Reginocio, who's just taking the peek from behind the tree, hoping that he can, if not deal damage, at least start to dent the confidence. So Udo Alliance can't peek into this so easily. They've still got such a good setup though, and this could be absolutely fantastic. They thought they had the lineup with a nade. No real response to it though. Not actually turning onto this one. They just leave themselves laying there in the open. Can't really retaliate too easily, and they're just being farmed, Blank. The nades go in again for the easy cleanup, and they're taken out of commission. Wiped off the face of the battleground there, leaving it into the final fight then.
Yeah, 3v4 now. And I think for Udo Alliance, honestly, when you're in that situation and you are MBE Sports, you just have to hope that he only has 2 grenades and you can withstand 2. Unfortunately for them, Olio had been sent forward with a blinding 7 in the back pocket. The circle moves over towards the north side, and Reject's going to have to play a very, very tough game. They've got no more smokes remaining either, so getting up will require them to get at least a knock. Lufa's not able to make it happen. Now just 2 players left alive versus Udo's 4, and they're going to send in on the approach. Is this going to be their downfall, or will this be where they win? Olio continues to send in some massive nades. He's been so important this entire game. The nade goes off, Reject will go out, and Udo Alliance, despite only getting the second that last game, Olio not going in for the 1v1 definitely makes up for things here on this Arango.
You do take those wins, Blank, as they're pulling off another one. Coming out swinging here. You're going to be happy with that. You're going to be in a position now where things are looking a lot better already. They were a team that today looked like they were kind of nipping at heels and at least keeping themselves in a good position. Now it actually seems comparable to think, you know, if they could maintain this, Blank, for their day 2 tomorrow as well, alongside potentially the next 2 games we have coming up, then Alliance are actually in a much better position than it felt like potentially they were going to be coming into this. They're looking good in the survival stage right now, taking to it quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's a really nice jump up from them as well off the back of that game. I mean, Olio, again, 1,088 damage done, only 84 damage received. I think their setup on that was very nice as well. Or towards that northern side, they had, I think it was Iftar or maybe Flax, who was up close, just holding out MB Esports that entire time. I think they had really good control over both Reject and MB Esports, not allowing either of those teams any breathing room whatsoever. And that came with an aggressive hold, right? You know, they had to have the big split going there in the end game. But yeah, really impressive from Udo Alliance. And I think Olio will be certainly pleased because sort of gave himself up a chicken dinner last game, even though he didn't know it. This time around, definitely secures for that chicken dinner. In the meantime, secure your seatbelts because we're heading back over to the desk.
All right, seatbelts are secured here. I don't know what sound that was, but we are back with U2 Alliance. Get themselves a big victory, honestly, and a pretty needed victory. We have to keep in mind that during this entire day, this is technically the easiest group for Group Red to go up against, considering the point discrepancy we heard from Max at the start of the day between yellow and green. So they need to collect every single point they possibly can, and Olio this time kind of redeeming himself, as we heard the caster say from our prior match, Max.
Yeah, really happy with UD Alliance getting himself that split. Of course, the circle not ending towards that kind of gas station location, so forcing teams like Reject to leave it. And when you have that 4-man split, pretty much, Jason, there's not much you can really do, and you're just very predictable behind that pylon. You just, the moment you try and peek your head around the corner, you're going to get completely wrecked. So 24 points on this one for UD Alliance. Great match, and also play with over 1,000 damage, Kalaris. That's really cool.
Yeah, wow. There you go. That's the sound for that one.
Thank you.
Even though we've not really properly seen it. Yeah, they were laughing together after that victory because they were like, we've seen this circle before. And we got to adapt from the previous game whilst doing it. I mean, they were holding strong up in the north, right? Like, they controlled so much room with this to be able to then head south that I think they actually really did, no joke, take learnings from the previous game and apply them here.
I mean, they dropped Northern Stolber, right? No one is going to be on this game, in this lobby, stopping that kind of rotation. No one is in between their drop location and the spot where their game ends, so it's not going to be happening in 1,000 years. And yeah, Leo, sure, he was able to confirm that game earlier on match number 3, but here he's able to just survive with his team and get things done. So happy about that one, though. If I want to take the conversation another way, Kalaris, is Reject knew how strong this time around the Procedure Evo's gas station actually was. Like, how about we crash it just like 5 minutes earlier in this match and maybe win the game? Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and they hit it with severity as well, right? Like, they absolutely barreled into that position and really gave Procedure no time to be able to react to said attack here. So for Reject, I love the decisive nature of that. I love just the very, very small window you're giving your opponents to be able to react to an assault oncoming here from the Japanese team.
Real quick, as we see in 21st place Quest, they have only 2 matches left to go before they're done in the entire survival stage. If they want to have any sort of chance, they have to come up big in these last 2 games. Otherwise, that's going to be one of our teams confirmed going to be out. But Enigma Galaxy, man, Max, 24th place. They have not been able to get anything going so far.
I think that Jackie and Blank were talking about it also during the games, and I did come up to that like kind of conclusion myself also, is that they're just struggling to get cars. And because of that, you're very vulnerable to teams that are going to be on your path to the circle. And that's just been happening so many times for Enigma Galaxy, losing Coops, losing Lord, losing Freak, and then you just don't have the players to really compete for that possible win. So yeah, they just gotta get more cars. Really, it's as easy as that right now. I know I'm making it seem very easy, but if they get 2, 3 cars, 4 cars if possible, you're instantly taking way smaller risks while you're trying to get to a good POI in these circles.
I do want to give a special shout out to 2 different players that we haven't really touched on just yet. Spec from Nasser. coming in massive on top of that building when we saw Inko crash on top of him. Somehow with the Vector, he was able to just hold on. But then Nenebeche on the other side, able to close things out and save his team. Well, save himself at least and get the wipe onto Nasser. That was just a really cool little battle between those two individual players.
Yeah, some good knocks from Nenebeche to kind of finish things off. And again, cooking grenades to be able to just throw them at the exact right time to really cause a lot of problems for his opponents here as he's trying.
Nenebeche was doing something that was very interesting. Is he was faking nades also during this entire match. He was just like taking the pin out and actually just doing the audio cue, and that was kind of scaring the opposite side to go for the res, and because of that he was able to just make them linger as a solo and then win the fight. So it's very small details like that, but Nenebeche as an individual, we also saw it last year in PMGC, right, has the chops to be one of the best players in this lobby, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's great to see him as well come back into his own when we first saw him come into the scene back in B4 over like 2-3 years ago when I was actually working on it a little bit more consistently. But guys, we are going to be heading to a short break shortly, but before then, I'm going to remind you guys once again about the Infinix GT10 Pro. You guys can pick this up. It's born for professional esports players, and you guys can dominate the lobby while doing so. Not to mention, you can play in the new Frost Festival now out in PUBG Mobile. You guys can get into this frosty adventure, pick it up and play, and potentially create some snowmen yourself. We also do have the popular annual gala kicking off between the November 15th over till December 15th, where you guys can play in 10 1v1 matches, potentially get some exclusive rewards that you can show off for yourself. And while you're showing those off, you can show off your new Pagani as well with the Zonda R model coming to us and the Amola. You guys can run over your enemies, and hopefully for Nimba Galaxy's sake, they can pick some of these up and survive and stay alive and get into the later stages where they can potentially use their victory dance and show off that they are their own favorite team in PMGC. We're going to head to a short break while we get things ready to go for our first of 2 matches on Miramar, and we'll see you all in just a short few.
And we are moving into Miramar. 2 of them back to back, to be precise, to finish off the second day of the survival stage. And Blank, it has been a bit of a journey we've already been on, mate. The Eren girls, the initial Sandhawk as well, all of them have had a bit of a different flavour. I wonder what's going to be sort of, you know, the taste left in our mouths after these Miramar games.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, I don't know. It might be a sour taste, might be a bitter taste for some of these teams, might be a very sweet and delicious taste for some of these teams towards that top side, feeling very comfortable, feeling very safe. For U2 Alliance, that is a really comfortable game on that last one. I think that Max and Clive mentioned it. Look, it was just the same circle from before, and they have a very easy and very nice little crossing down towards that position. And they essentially just played it how they would have wanted to play it that last time around. So really, really well done to both of them. And I think for, honestly, Reject, they'll be happy with a 3rd place on that one, a 2nd place on that one, get some good points on the board overall, which they desperately needed, right? And I think that consistently today, Reject's been doing pretty well. And I think tomorrow we'll see some of those teams from Group Red try and hit some higher numbers as well on that chase. Again, today we will be setting that benchmark, at least for some of those teams with Group Green leaving us. And I think that's the most important thing for a lot of these squads to be taking a look at the end of the day, is where that 16th place lies. Currently, it is with Maliz Esports at 25 points.
Okay, then. What are things going to be looking like in terms of the points after this first Miramar? What drastic changes are we going to be seeing? All big questions that will have a large influence on the overall standings, but we'll find out as we kick it off. The plane has taken off and we're flying over Miramar. If you take a look out of your left window, you'll see water treatment. If you take a look out of your right window, you'll see power grid. Please keep your arms and legs inside of the plane at all time. Now I'll pass you over to your captain, Blank.
It is me, and Also, disregard that last comment about keeping your legs and arms in there playing at all times. At some point, we are going to be tossing you out because you're going to have to get into this match, gain yourself a couple of these points at the moment because this is not a safe run from us. It's going to be quick, dirty, and it's going to be fierce going into this Miramar. This is our first of two before Group Green will end their run here in the survival stage and see just how many points that they have been able to put up and get in. Currently, Quest is one of the teams very much in danger at this point in time. Currently played 10 matches with a measly 17 points, currently in 21st place. It is going to take a gargantuan effort from them in these last two matches, and quite honestly, I just don't think it's possible, and this might be one of our first teams to be confirmed gone over in that bottom 8 of the lobby for the survival stage. They will not be making it through to last chance unless something absolutely insane can happen here on these last two Miramars, which I just don't think is going to happen.
No, it would have to be miraculous. Not quite sure if it'll be going that way. We did have Maxman coming in with the hot drop breakdown as well. He gave us a quick lay of the land of the potential positions and clashes that we could be seeing. DX versus MBEs was one of them in El Pozo. And then the other potential that doesn't seem like it's happened was FaZe versus Evos as well. Max had been taking a look over the VODs. So he had basically came to the description blank that we might be seeing those as the common drop spots. At least this time, it seems like some of the teams have got their heads screwed on and haven't wanted to run the risk of a hot drop this late into the day of competition, especially with some of them actually having a good day of it as well. Like for Evos, right? Running the risk of that, not going to be ideal. Not the best playing path for it either as well. So that's why we've avoided that one. But honestly, probably for the best, mate. These hot drops are getting a little bit too warm, Blank. It's like being in a sauna, but you don't really want to be in there. You thought it was an ice room.
Yeah, it's currently 1 a.m. The janitor locked the door. You're stuck in there. They've turned off the lights. It's a horrible experience overall. You're sweating. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait it out and move out of the old sauna in the morning looking a little bit mummified. But in the meantime, we'll keep you guys nice and cozy at least. And we'll be there with the keys in the morning around about 7 a.m. because I don't wake up too early. But looking at this plane, obviously it wasn't too great for either of those hot drops on this side of things. Difficult to get down towards Chumacera anyway, so a lot of teams had to go for something just a little bit different. On the cards here, we do have MBE Sports up towards El Pozo. In the meantime, Gladiators playing towards their preferred drop spot in La Cobreria. They have been trying to switch things up just a little bit recently, moving further down towards this south side outside Hacienda del Patron. Certainly have done their homework though. Not really a possibility here versus Nassar, who are over towards water treatment in the first place. So that would cause them to be running into another team fairly early on. And I think for Gladiators, who haven't put up any points since that second game, sorry, currently on 59. I think they'd want to push this just a little bit higher in these final two matches. I think 80 points is a pretty happy finishing point for any team within this lobby, currently with Mad Bulls at 89 points total. Also, not the most amazing day for them, but they have put up some good points, right? I think yesterday just sort of overshadows the consistency that we're seeing today from them.
It's been an interesting day for it as well, man, because I think it's made it so hard to really, truly assess the situation. I don't even know by the end of today, Blank, if we'll have the best lay of the land of how things are going to look by the end of survival stage, because any sort of the theory we came into it with initially with, you know, kind of the idea of Group Green being the real big group of death that it was, that had so many top teams in it, translating into survival stage, felt like it kind of wasn't an accurate depiction of day one. Then now we're seeing some of them bubbling up towards the top. We're seeing a good test of some of the other teams now in the lobby for today as well. I think really by the end of tomorrow, you know, as silly as it is to say, is when we're actually going to truly understand just how tight this was, because it's been hard to call the whole way through. We've seen these standings definitely getting shaken the longer it has gone on. It's been a lot of impressive maneuvers from Brazil as a region as well throughout the course of the entirety of the tournament. Here at the minute, Inco, being the sole representative of Brazil inside of this lobby, haven't had the best day of it. Of course, they had to fight tooth and nail. Similar story to Quest, to barely make it here in the first place. I think the more surprising one as well is, as we go deeper down towards the bottom, I'm kind of expecting a bit more from maybe your Duxans, maybe Mega Galaxies as well, that just feel like there could have been a little bit more to be done. We've got one of them fighting here though, as they are going aggro, broken wall combat as they look to try and swoop on in. Bullets from behind the camper van, can't quite close the gap, switch to the secondary. That one will kneecap, fights through the body as well, backed up by his teammates, and the pressure is on now.
Yeah, FS taking a huge amount of damage there on Hyper, and Duxan, like he said, really aren't giving up anything whatsoever. They're looking for more. FS will go down, and again, Zifan just has to send away as fast as possible. Hyper's really not been having a good tournament here at all in the survival stage, really struggling on every single drop at the start of the game. First couple of minutes just have been hellish for them. Zifan almost spinning out there on the vehicle as Vinny continues to pepper those shots across, gets a nice headshot, and Hoxie will finish off with one of his own. That's Hyper out with some beautiful gun skill coming through from Hoxie at the end there, and Duxan picks themselves up a juicy 4 points. Again, you were right, Duxan needs to do a little bit more at the bottom of the tables. That's a great start from them here on Miramar, and see them a little bit safer coming into the survival stage. Alter Ego, look, we didn't want to talk about the start today, but you know what? 41 points. It's not too bad, honestly. It's not too bad. They have certainly struggled, but they're struggling against the tide here, trying to get back to the safety of the beaches so they can sit up in those armchairs and just wait for this one comfortably to end without worrying about maybe being pushed out from that top 16. Obviously, only 2 more games to go, though, for Alter Ego. These are some really important matches for them as well, because by no means is 41 points safe at all.
Feels like nothing's a safe threshold anymore, man. It doesn't matter how much of a buffer you've got, Blank. I'd still be a bit scared. You never want to leave it up to someone else, right? So just trying to keep that consistent growth of points always going. Such a hard task, but something that needs to be done relatively consistently, game in, game out right now. You can see already with the posturing, a lot of these teams earlier on today, even yesterday especially, when there kind of wasn't a level playing field, there wasn't a point where you could see one team pulling ahead, they probably would have gone for a few more of these fights. At the minute, it's a bit more sheepish. Teams sort of fighting to warn off other squads. A lot of defensive gameplay at the minute, kind of turtling, trying to gain control of your lay of the land and force other teams to feel uncomfortable, rather than swooping in, kind of playing that very aggressive, guerrilla strong together mentality of just trying to overwhelm opposition by roaming as a pack, which was working earlier today. On Miramar, in this sort of situation, might not be the best call. One wrong fight could be the difference of you basically leaving yourself with no chances to get points today. For Group Green, that would mean no chances remaining over the course of the survival stage as well. So big pressure, big momentum shift needs to happen. Zone shift, though, is going to cause a bit of a cascade. Everyone wanted to get themselves into the center circle as quick as possible, but look at Mad Bulls miles away, taking a slow turn on things, wanting to just take their time with a rotate on this.
Yeah, slowing it down massively, and that's fair enough for the Mad Bulls. I think they want to just confirm some more consistent placements here in these final couple of games. They know that they've done a lot already in the lobby to see themselves pretty safe here. Like you said, it's very hard to say what is safe, honestly, at this point in time, because there could be a massive jump up from all 16 teams tomorrow in both Group Yellow and Group Red, but we'll see what happens. For Mad Bulls, I would say that they've done really, really well for both their region as well as themselves, getting themselves fairly decently confirmed towards that last chance. There is still more to be done in those 2 days following, but at least they get a break in between. For some of these other squads at the moment, there is some serious pressure on them. But Miramar, obviously, one of those matches where you really want to keep all 4 players alive towards that end game, and a lot of teams are looking to pick up some central positions early on. Reject still following that same mentality of picking up that central spot at the beginning of the game. They've done a great job to do it down towards the south side already. This will see them in a good position to pick up some more of those points. Yes, they're not picking up those big chicken dinners, but they are very much definitely in that top 3 a lot of the time now. So, you know, I think they are another team that just felt the pressure from yesterday, weren't able to play comfortably, a little bit fidgety in their seats, but this time they are definitely playing much more how we saw in that group green, where they look like a formidable team, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely a facelift that I think both of us are pretty happy to witness here, looking a lot more like themselves. Interesting game so far. Few skirmishes, few fights just to get the backs up of other opponents. A lot of control of the map here being fought for. Peppered bullets being thrown in the direction of gladiators now, though, as Tixie and co start to scout out, fan themselves around and look for the information on the rotate with the vehicles. Levi's really hoping for a heavy hit on this. He's got the bullets for it. Man's got 200 rounds in the back pocket, so he's willing to just fire off a few warning shots and keep looking for damage. Here's the overall lay of the land, though, the way things are looking with the map. It's Alter Ego that are barely coming up towards the entry point here as well. That would be Udo Alliance that have to fight through if they head into the zone. And they've got, again, another nice spread. Udo Alliance, I have enjoyed the way they've been playing, Blank, in terms of relying on each other as duos. Feels like they have a lot of faith in their setups where they'll play off each other's contacts. And they're probably going to be tested by Melise as well with this. So this actually might be an opportunity to see if their combat skill is looking as drilled as it has been over the course of the day.
Yeah, for Udo Alliance, I think they've had some really, really strong like edge play style where they'll play off one another, and I think that they're cautious enough to actually go for that play style as well, where they won't push out the boat too far a lot of times, which is something that's very rare to see in these edge style teams. I think sometimes it's all or nothing for some of these squads, but these esports certainly have been plagued by that curse a few times so far already. But it's been pleasing to see Udo Alliance being able to really show a masterclass of how to do this one in the survival stage. For some of these teams that are towards that northern side, moving through Monte Nuevo, a little bit open area, down towards Chumacera at the moment. Also a bit of a horrid position to play. I think Nigma Galaxy quite happy over towards the north side of Chumacera right now with relative safety, being able to have a good outlook over towards some of these players that are down towards the northern edge on the low ground at the moment. Reject still just holding on to this central position though, and I think for them, again, it's just nice to